Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode. Um, Lots to talk about today. Um, I think what we're going to start with, because I am going to recap the 100 Days to Indy finale. I think the first thing I want to do, just because it is so prevalent and it's, what people are talking about right now, is we're going to start with a little bit of IndyCar drama because Lord knows it's happening right now. So, let's talk about Connor Daly and Ed Carpenter Racing. I have my little note sheet over here, and then I have some notes on my phone. So let's go back to 2 days ago. On the 7th, um, we hear that, ooh, that underlining though. We hear that um, Ed Carpenter Racing and Connor Daly have parted ways. Now, before really seeing any statements or kind of getting into it, my first reaction is letting go of a driver in the middle of the season, not great. Never great. I mean, it's no secret, I think, to a lot of people that Connor had been unhappy. And um, I think, at least going back to Barber, if you had heard any of the radio stuff, he seemed to be very unhappy. Maybe even like a little bit before that, but that was kind of the thing where I was like, ooh, like this partnership is about to break up. However, I didn't think it would be this soon, and think, I think a lot of people didn't think it was going to be this soon. Um, so I think it's kind of taken people by surprise. Oh my God, okay. Did you see the video of him flying over that curb? I was just like, oh my God. Because they did do the repave at Road America, but whoa. I loved his estimation though of 85 feet. Flew 85 feet in the air. Um, it's gonna be interesting though to see once they actually get there if anyone else deals with anything like that. Hopefully no, but I will be interested to see what happens with that. So, statements that came out on the 7th. We have one from Ed and one from Connor. Um, Ed says, "This is the most difficult decision I have made as a team owner because I respect Connor and know what he means to IndyCar and its fans. Our team has not been performing at the level we are capable of this year, and despite making technical changes and investments in the off-season, 2023 has been extremely challenging. We have put a great deal of consideration into the current state of our team and realize it is my obligation to our employees, partners, and supporters to do whatever is necessary to elevate our team's competitiveness. We sincerely wish Connor continued success and will cheer him on wherever he goes next." Which, okay, it doesn't give a lot away. It's a respectable thing to say. He's not really, calling him out or no, not saying anything either way. So, cool. Then we have Connor's statement. This is the thing that made a lot of people go, oh. He says, "Although we've mutually decided that it's in our best interest to take different paths, I'd like to thank ECR for the past 3.5 seasons. I'm grateful to everyone who has supported me, past, present, and into the future, and I look forward to taking on the next opportunities that await. I want to thank the fans for being with me on this ride." These are not the same statements. These do not say the same things. Mm. I mean, this was the thing that really kind of started. Like, there are lots of things people were saying. People were saying maybe Ed was getting pressure from sponsors. Maybe there was a performance clause in Connor's contract. Like, as of the 7th, no one knew, really. But we did know that these two things do not say the same thing and the math ain't mathin', right? So, the next thing on Connor's statement on his Instagram, let me find it so I can read it to you exactly. On his Instagram, you start reading the comments, and the first, like the top comments, the top couple are from fellow drivers. Marcus Ericsson's like, sorry to hear this. Good luck with whatever's next. Felix Rosenquist is like, sad to see you go. Good luck with whatever. And then this is the thing that made me wonder who knows what, and if there are people that had been kind of, that he, like, people he was closest to that had been hearing things for a while. Because TK's comment says that is low, not cool at all. And I feel like if anyone's gonna know something, it's gonna be TK. Like, he just knows everything. And I do know, based on my own experiences, that the two of them do have a friendship. Um, so I do kind of wonder what, you know, I wonder what was going on, what people knew was going on behind the scenes. So all of that happens on the 7th, right? Um, ooh, I can't write on that. And then yesterday, we get, because it, on the 7th, all the articles that came out said that it was understood that the BitNile car would be continuing full time for the rest of the year. So everyone's kind of thinking, okay, they're bringing someone else in. Obviously, the sponsor that came in with Connor is staying with Ed. Um, People kind of start to suspect, or not suspect so much as try to like suss out who they think it's going to be. Like, Ed had been testing a rookie from Indy Lights, and people are thinking maybe that's, kind of the direction we're going to go in. Yesterday, driver announcement, and it's Ryan Hunter-Reay. I It's really not what I expected. I really didn't think veteran. I probably should have, based on what Ed had said in his first statement, but I really didn't think, and I wasn't thinking who's out there that could, come back. Um, and the first thing I thought was, oh, this is getting messy. This is, mm-hmm. Okay. So, RHR statement. He says, I was surprised when I got the call from Ed. He described how frustrated he was that his team has not been able to realize its potential despite their efforts, investments, as well as technical and personnel changes over the past few years, and asked for my help. Ed and I are very close friends and have been for a long time. I've worked with the team in the past, and they are a very talented group with high expectations and a committed partner in bitnile.com. This will certainly be a challenge for me as well. It's a tough situation jumping in a car in the middle of the season without any testing in what I believe to be the most competitive series in the world, which he's not wrong. Certainly, part of my motivation in saying yes to Ed is the great challenge ahead. the last time I turned right driving an NTT, oh, they didn't write this very well. The last time I turned right driving an NTT IndyCar Series car was in October of 2021 with this team at Barber. However, I remain very confident in both my driving and technical abilities and believe by working with the talented people at ECR and Team Chevy while representing BitNile.com, we will make progress. I'm going to do everything I can to help the team achieve its long-term objectives. You know, honestly, I really want to know what I'm just like there's a part of me, it's all the parts of me. It's the fan part, it's the human part, it's the journalist part that wants to know like what the hell was going on behind the scenes if Ed's so frustrated and telling everyone that he's so upset. Like obviously something more, is going on. So from that, Ed makes a statement about this. He says, "We need to improve our competitiveness, and I wanted to add a fresh perspective from a driver like Ryan, who has a massive amount of experience and success as well as a reputation as a team leader. I am excited to welcome Ryan to the team. We have worked together in the past as teammates, and he tested for ECR at Barber Motorsports Park in October 2021, where he made an immediate impact as we were able to qualify one of our cars on the pole following the test. I am confident that his experience and technical abilities will be an asset to ECR as we move forward toward our goal as a team." So, there be that. Um, obviously, um, where am I going? Oh, yeah. Obviously, he's going to be joining Renus VK, and then Ed is he rounds out all three drivers. Um, now, the thing about this is in between those two statements in like all the articles that I saw, there's this there's this little thing that I feel like hasn't been talked about enough because it gives a little peek. Not like enough, but it gives like a little peek. It says, although the conclusion of the relationship between ECR and Daly is understood to be one that has more to do with interpersonal relationships than the Hoosiers' on track results, the reset by the team with the number 20 Chevy also created an opportunity to draft in the long-standing Andretti Autosport driver to get a handle on what the program will need to vie for routine podiums and wins when the new season begins in 2024. So, I mean, okay. It's like I think there has to be, I mean, obviously it says it doesn't really have to do like so much with his on track results, which I mean, I think it has like a little work to do. Um, there's a comparison. I saw a really great thread on Twitter. I can't remember who it's from, but someone had pulled up Connor's like entire career stats and um, then made like a whole table with all the active drivers, and I think it's a really interesting thing to look at if you guys see it. Um, so I guess I'm kind of at a loss because were him and Ed just like beefing the whole time, and that's why they were so upset this season? Like, what what the hell's going on? It just like I don't know, like obviously not everyone was happy with the performance on Ed's side, on Connor's side. They were struggling. That's, not a secret. We've seen that. He had, I think his best finish this season was maybe, it was within the top 10. And he did decently at the Indy 500. Um, it's just, it's messy. It doesn't feel very good. That's the thing. Like, how are you fighting so bad with your team that 6, 7 races into the year, they're just like, okay, bye. Like, that's got to be some like long standing shit that's going on. Obviously, we're gonna have to see what happens. I had seen that Connor was saying that he was really grateful for all of the support he was getting from the fans and that he wasn't done yet. So I do hope something comes out of this for him. I don't know if it'll be an IndyCar or another series. Um, I know he's done some NASCAR stuff before, but I do hope he finds a place to fit in. And one of these days, I want someone just to spill all the tea because this is a weird situation. And I don't know, because people are mad, people are gossiping, like, it's not great. And I don't know if we will ever know fully, but it doesn't feel very good. And you just kind of like hope for resolution and I don't even know. Just gonna have to see where it goes, I guess. Yeah, I'm not super mad that I didn't have to learn how to say his full name. Oh man. I guess he would in Europe go by his full last name, but yeah, I'm not mad that I missed out on that one. It's bad enough when we do IMSA stuff for like the endurance races, and my co-host and I are sitting here like, oof, some of these names. We're gonna butcher some things today. Like we try our best, but it's a tough one. But I always say that I'm always saying people's names with the best intentions because people always, my entire life, say my name wrong. So, like, I totally get it. But, you just kind of go, you can just kind of like mumble it a little bit and move on. Hope you said it right. Okay. I think we're going to pivot a little bit um, to the finale of 100 Days to Indy. Now, from my understanding at this point, they did the 6. That's just going to be it. I had said a little while ago that I heard that they were maybe considering extending it. I don't think that's happening. Um, I think it would be cool if they did like a fuller version of it next year because this series has, I feel like, done a lot for the sport because they did it so well. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a fun thing to watch and it's been a fun thing to cover. Um, but yeah, let's get into that. So, episode 6, titled Finally. Um, I was actually really surprised. Um, I was really surprised by the fact that they were able to get everything down from all the qualifying and practice drama and everything that did happen in the 500 um, down into one episode. I was for sure that it was going to be two. Um, but they managed to do it and they got pretty much everything packed in. Um, so it started with Bobby Rahal in the bus lot, cooking, and he was talking about how he's like, everyone is jealous because no other team owner cooks for their team. He's like, no one. And Graham was there, and he's like, wow, you're full of yourself today. Which those little interactions are like my favorite, those like father son things and just like the little family relationships. Um, but I did think it was cute that he was sitting down and like cooking for his team. And they were having like a bonding moment. Um, then they showed Bobby like a little bit talking about just some like, career stuff from him, and he showed a picture of him and Graham at like a sponsor dinner when Graham was really little and he was wearing like a little suit and tie and it was adorable. Um, but Graham was talking about how, he has 6 wins in his IndyCar career, but no one talks about it because, and this is the thing we talked about in like episode 1. Mario said it. Uh, no one cares how many wins you have. Have you won a championship? Have you won an Indy 500? Those are the things that people talk about and really that people care about. So, um, which, is for better or for worse, it is what it is. It's not super great, but it happens. Um, he said that there's only been, one father son to have won the 500 before, and obviously it's the Unsers. And he, wants to be the next one to do it. Like he wants to win it with his dad. Obviously, that did not happen this year, but the fact that they still want to do that together, after everything that did happen this year, I hope that's still a thing that they get a chance to do in the future. I don't know if he'll be back with the team next year, if that's something that he wants. There's obviously still a lot of racing left, so we will see. Um, so kind of from there, they jumped into day one of Indy 500 qualifying, and just everyone was just talking about how like stressful it is. And TK said it's like the best worst feeling, and he was glad to have that one more time. Um, they really didn't spend as much time covering like showing the fact and covering the fact that it was TK's last 500, which I thought they would have done like just a little bit more. Um, so they were, doing the whole qualifying thing, and then they kind of went into day 2 with the LCQ, and they were showing, because obviously all the drivers are there, and they were showing the drivers that were in, kind of sitting around and talking about how they feel for the LCQ drivers who are trying to get in, and how shitty it feels to be in that position. And Rossi was like, he was talking to Catherine Legg. He's like, I wouldn't wish that feeling on my worst enemy, and she was like, I would. And I love that. I'm like, yes, girl. um then they kind of showed, it was just like a little bit of how all that went down and how Graham got bumped out, which really is like, it was devastating when it happened to see it the first time, and it was still really sad to see it the second time. Um, and Hinch was talking about how, that happened to him. He knows it's just like the worst feeling because you put in so much work and so much extra work all year, and then to not get it, it sucks. Like it sucks so bad. Um, so not great to see, obviously, that again. Um, then they went into the rest of that day, which was the Fast Six, with Pillow on the pole, which very exciting. Um, it was a lot close. It was obviously very close between him and Felix. So that was fun. And then I'm really glad they included this because this was one of my favorite clips that I saw. I saw it on Instagram. Um, they went to take their group photo for the 500 and Felix was late. So all the drivers, literally every single person, is sitting there or standing there in their seats, and he comes just like running out, and they're like, "Yay!" And he goes to sit down. They have these stools. He goes to sit down. Ed Carpenter pulled out his stool and he fell down. So funny to me. Just that little like childlike brotherhood that they have, and just those little fun things sometimes. Those are the best. The camaraderie is great. Um, they showed a little bit of the chaos that is media day, and everyone's got to talk to everyone. There's just so much going on. Even though it was just like a little snippet, it's wild. Um, and it really is like media from everywhere, all countries, all places, crazy. Um, they showed the practice crash between Catherine Legg and Stefan Wilson, which also not great to see a second time. Um, obviously, we know what happened with that. The next little thing they showed was Graham being announced as the replacement driver, and he said that he doesn't feel good filling in for an injured driver. He feels for Stefan tremendously because he knows how much this means to him and how much work he puts in and year out to be at the 500. Um, they then showed they did like a little hospital scene. I know there were multiple drivers, multiple people in the IndyCar community that did get over and go see him. The one that they showed was Ryan Hunter-Reay went to see him and he brought him balloons and was trying to like joke with him a little bit. So that was nice to see. He obviously had the back surgery and he had said in that scene that he hoped that he would be out in time to go to the race. And he was actually on race day walking around in his brace in the paddock a little bit, which it's it was really great to see that he was able to actually go down there and see it. Like I said before, we are all excited to see him put his best foot forward and um, come back even stronger for the 500 next year. Let's see. They showed a little bit of Firestone Legends Day and 500 Parade, and then it was race day, the greatest spectacle in racing, um, which Hinch did say is the largest single day sporting event on Earth. There was some people on Twitter from the other open wheel fandom trying to say that that was not true, but it in fact is. Um, over 300,000 people show up to the thing. And, one day, I think this year it was like 325,000. It was between that and like 350. It was tons of people this year. Just you look down turn one, tons of people. You look back towards turn four, just the place was packed. It was amazing. Um, I had one little snarky thing that I wrote down because they were just showing like teams getting ready and drivers and stuff, and they showed a little bit into the McLaren hauler where Zach Brown was giving his little 500 speech, and I was like, oh, that he was willing to show it for. I take a little bit of an issue with Zach Brown because he, I said this before, I was a little disappointed that he didn't uh, give any sort of like interview or comment or anything for 100 Days to Indy and they had like a team representative. And, you know, in the grand scheme of things, of all the things that McLaren is doing right now, like actively all the series are actively participating in, they're doing the best in IndyCar. Their F1 team is still on the struggle bus. So I do wish that he, at least for the fans over here and for this side of it, would make it seem like he cares about this team and this series. Like, it's a perception wise, it's not great. It doesn't feel great. But, and it's just a thing where like commentators and the media, they're like, oh, Zach Brown had choices today, but he chose to be here because he could have been, in Monaco with the team. But it's like, let's not make it a bigger deal than it is. Like, if you don't show up to the 500, that looks really, really, really bad. But that was just my one little thing. It's not a great perception, and I don't think for the fans of the team it feels great. It's just like a little disappointing. Um, so green flag drop, race time. They kind of just put they put the pieces together in like the most like dramatic kind of like highlighty way. So we had Catherine Legg, her little incident in the pits. She was the first person to retire, and then TK becoming the world's fastest lawnmower and a little bit fucking up the grass, going around Scott McLaughlin, which was so stressful. Like, to see it, like on the highlights we've been seeing it from like the camera on Scott McLaughlin's car, but seeing it from the front and then having them cut away from it as it was actually happening was so stressful. Um, but it turned out in kind of like a funny thing. Um, then Stingray Rob in the wall, and he was not happy after that. I might have mentioned this when I talked about it like the last time, but after he hit the wall and the car came to a stop, and the team was like, "Are you okay?" And he was just like, "Ah," and he was like angry over the radio, and his team was like, "I guess that means you're okay then." It's just a little bit of sass. I was like, "Ooh," just made me laugh. Um, then there was the VK Pillow pit incident, in which VK did end up getting the drive-through penalty. Um, there was the Colton Herta and Grosjean contact in the pits where Colton's team sent him right into Grosjean as he was coming in. So that was like an awkward team thing. Um, at that point, Newgarden had worked his way into the top five, kind of like out of nowhere. Um, then Grosjean on the wall, which I felt so bad because he's been a little too comfortable with the wall this year. Um, it's just like it's been like a weird thing for Andretti because they have the pace and they've been running in the top, but then he'll just be in the wall all of a sudden. I don't know what exactly is going on with that, but I feel bad. I hope they can kind of change their luck. Um, then there was just like the thing with Will Power where he just like barely tapped the wall and it just kind of like fucked up the whole car. Um, the big one was Rosenquist because he crashed and Kyle Kirkwood hit him just like he really didn't have anywhere to go. He was, trying his best. And it just took a little bit for them to hit. And that sent, um, everyone will have seen this by now. Everyone knows this. That sent one of Kyle's wheels flying over the crowd, which obviously the most important thing from that was no one got hurt because back in the day, that was like a huge thing. And flying wheels and tires used to just cause a lot of devastation when they would go into the crowd because it's just so dangerous. Um, that doesn't actually happen a lot now because they have really strong tethers on the wheels and tires, so it just is really supposed to keep it in there. But they hit at such a speed where it sent it flying, and that sent Kirkwood into the wall, and then he obviously flipped upside down. And upside down is not good in any car, but really not in like an open wheel car. The halo and the aero screen setup really, really saved him. Um, People gave him a lot of shit from the in car after he opened his visor. Guys, he didn't do it until after he was upside down. And if I was upside down in IndyCar, I would have my visor too because you want to see what's happening around you. You have to know where you are, and you want to make sure that no one is going to drive directly into you because there's nothing you can do. You're upside down, and that was it. So like the amount of shit that he got and the fact that people didn't realize that, like he's not being unsafe. He's not just opening his visor for funsies. Like you need to see where you are. You need to see what's going on around you. Um, Obviously, the best part of that was that he was totally fine when he got out of the car. Everyone was totally fine. Um, his flying wheel and tire setup did crush a car a little bit that was in the parking lot. Um, I understand that Roger Penske and everyone at IMS, they found out who she was. They let her, they did like a little photo shoot with her. They let her kiss the bricks and they were gonna like get her a new car, which I think is incredible. Um, because imagine going to your insurance company and being like, yeah, I was at the Indy 500 and my car got crashed into the parking lot by a flying wheel and tires, so not great. But Roger Penske and IMS coming through and taking care of her, which was really, really sweet. Um, let's see. So from that, there was they red flagged the race at that point to clean everything up. Um, Back to green, Newgarden had made his way to the front. Um, they were just kind of chilling for a little bit, and Pato, who had been running, like I think he was top three at that point, he was making a move on Ericsson, and he felt like he left Ericsson enough room, and then he got squeezed, and he ended up there was contact, and he ended up hitting the wall, and he like rode literally like this, rode the wall for a little bit. Um, Totally fine, by the way. Um, the part that they didn't show this on the show, which I was kind of like, because it was kind of like a big thing that happened during that. So there was also like shit going on in the back too. While he was crashing, someone else was actually crashing. Canapino was having an issue in the back, and he ended up like the front of he I think he hit the wall is what had happened, or there was contact or something. I think it was a wall situation, and the front of his car it was broken. So Pato has his crash. He rides the wall. He comes down. Canapino, having had his crash, can't. Oh, computer's making boom bong noises at me. That was so loud. Um, can't steer or really like go anywhere. So he crashes into the back of Pato. He drives up like over like the back of him a little bit, which used to happen a lot in open wheel racing. Thankfully, it doesn't happen that much anymore, but it used to happen a lot. So that was the whole situation. Obviously, both of them were fine. Um, but that led obviously to another restart. Um, Newgarden at this point is leading. Um, then there's a crash at the back, like almost immediately, um, with Ray Hall, Peterson, and Carpenter. And I think at that point, um, Ericsson had gotten around Newgarden, but just barely. And so there's like 4 laps left. And they throw the yellow, and everyone's like, oh my God, are we gonna like end this race under yellow? Like, is that just how it's gonna be? And we're gonna have a two-time, like, back-to-back winner with Ericsson. So they come around, they do their thing, and then they throw the red flag. So, which um Ericsson was not a fan of. I mean, it was the best thing to do. It was the safest thing to do at that point. They had to clean it up because, you know, it's crashed on the front stretch. Like, you got to clean it up. So I think they did what was the safest thing. Um, so they red flag for that cleanup. They reorder the field in, once they all pull in. So it's Ericsson and then Newgarden. Um, because Santino Ferrucci was, even under yellow, was like trying to make a pass. And I'm like, no, get back there. So they reorder the field. And then when they go out, it's essentially going to be a 1 lap shootout. Like, if you want to make something happen, you got to make it happen now. And it was a great battle between Ericsson and Newgarden. And at this point, I'm like freaking out. I'm like every other IndyCar fan that's like just freaking out, like, oh my God. Because Newgarden has been trying for like 12 years. This is like his 12th Indy 500 to win. He's never won. And he gets a chance, he makes the move, and he's able to hold off Ericsson. Like, they're snaking, they're like doing all the things. And when he crosses that finish line, let me tell you, I got so emotional. Like, all the feels, all the things. It's just like, in my opinion, he's one of the nicest guys in the paddock. And seeing like a different side of him with Bus Bros, and just, with this, seeing him, as like a husband and a father and like all that stuff. He's just someone that you want to root for, in my opinion. Like, um, it really was. It's been a while since, when was it? Was it Ellis? Like, I think the last time I got like emotional about an Indy 500 winner was Elio. Like, I was happy for Ericsson, don't get me wrong, but I haven't like been emotional about it in like a hot minute. Um, I think the best thing that he did when he got out, everyone kind of expected him to climb the wall, but he went into the crowd and celebrated with the people, which I love so much. That's just one of my favorite things. A couple years ago, I think it was 2019 in Seattle, John Force, when the NHRA was there, he won. It was the day when he got his like 150th win, and Austin Prock, who's his teammate, um, in Top Fuel Dragster, he got his first win, and John jumped into the crowd to celebrate. He ran up. It was once he came back to the top end, and it was just like the best ever. Like, drivers getting in there and celebrating with the fans, I love it so much. I think it's just the sweetest thing. Um, but yeah, I honestly, like, in that moment, couldn't have been happier for Newgarden. Couldn't have been happier for Penske. Like, it's just like one of those like heartwarming, like a great finish to a great race. And I said it was gonna, all season I've been saying it's gonna be spicy. It's gonna be spicy. It could be anyone. You never know what's gonna happen. This, it delivered so good. Honestly, I think one of the most exciting 500s we've seen in a while. Um, the thing about that is, we still have a whole lot of racing left. We still got a long season. Detroit was really, really interesting for a lot of reasons. Detroit was interesting. I think we're going to keep seeing this level as it goes on, and I think it's going to be a real fight for the championship. I keep saying it, but this is like the best time to be an IndyCar fan and to be involved on all sides for the sport because it's thriving and I love it. So good. Um, but yeah, what a crazy Indy 500. What a crazy lead up to the 500. Um, like I said at the beginning, I love that IndyCar decided to do this. I think it was really, really well done. Um, it wasn't over dramatized. There's no over sensationalization. I'm bringing that back. I still don't know if it's a word, but I'm saying it. Um, it was so good. And I think there couldn't have been a better season for it to happen. But yeah, I have so loved having this little segment and doing this with you guys every week. Um, honestly, I was kind of hoping they would just like do it for the whole season so we could keep doing it because it's so fun because it's so different from what we normally do. And you guys know I'm always trying to like think of like fun different things, but amazing. I loved it. 10 out of 10 would do again. So I hope they like bring it back or decide to make it longer, do whatever. Um, if you want to watch this episode or any of the episodes from the season, they are streaming on the CW app for free. So go catch up. And I would love to know because not everyone's going to have the same answer. Not everyone's going to say the Indy 500. I would love to know what your favorite episode was from the season and what your favorite moment was because there were so many good ones. Um, but yeah, I think that might wrap it up for this one. Oh, Le Mans this weekend, which is wild that we're already into Le Mans. It came so fast. Um, Ferrari on the pole, which you love to see it. When they hit Toyota with the BOP adjustment, I was like, oh, like I knew that was going to open it up for great battles and chaos at the front. Love that for Ferrari. Love that Ben Keating, who is like the master of masters and just one of the greatest drivers that we have in IMSA and sports car racing, um, put Corvette on the pole. Um, as you guys know, or you may not know, the factory Corvette racing team is going away after this season. They are opening up their GT3 customer racing program next year with their new cars. And there's going to be something like, I heard like 8 Corvettes floating around, which is wild to me. Um, but there's going to be 4 in IMSA. I know Pratt Miller, who is their, oh, who has been like a long time like part of the Corvette racing team in IMSA. They are gonna handle that part. They're gonna do, I think it's 2 in GTD and 2 in GTD Pro, um, which is wild. I would assume that they would keep Jordan Taylor and Antonio Garcia together. Um, I hope they keep Nikki. I would love to see Tommy back. Um, yeah, we're gonna have to see what's gonna happen with that. So follow that storyline. I'm gonna be following it. Um, but yeah, lots going on. Le Mans, I think, is going to be wild. IndyCar drivers who are competing, Simon Pagenaud, I think he's an LMP2, or is it Elio? Oh, I think it's Simon. There's a graphic. Um, I feel like it's, yeah, Simon Pagino in LMP2 in the number 47 for Cool Racing, and Dixie, obviously in the hypercar class with Cadillac. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be wild. I'm not gonna be trying to set any records and stay up the whole night just because the time difference is so wild, but I will definitely be tuning in. I will probably be tweeting about it as well. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter and we will talk about motorsports. Let's see. I always kind of forget what the command is. Is it that one? It is that one. There we go. But yeah, that's going to be exciting. Lots of racing coming up after that. Um, Emu and I are going to do a Watkins Glen predictions episode because 6 Hours at the Glen is coming up, which is going to be exciting. Um, I want to say to everyone in Canada and on the East Coast, and even a little bit in just like in the Northeast that's being affected by the wildfires right now, I hope you're staying safe. If you don't have to go outside, please don't go outside. Change your filters in your cars, change your filters in your house. Um, I live on the West Coast and unfortunately, wildfire season, kind of rears its ugly head every year. And I kind of get caught in the middle of stuff that comes down from Canada and stuff that comes up from like California. A couple years ago, it was like really, really bad. So I completely understand and stay safe. Make sure you're hydrating and, just do the best you can to stay inside and off the streets if you can. Um, but yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. As always, we really appreciate you guys hanging out and following along and commenting and subscribing and like on YouTube and Spotify and all that. Exciting things coming. I have big plans, like always. Um, but yeah, it's going to be really good. Have a great weekend, you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.